morning. I've got a quick update on where I'm at so far in my plan for my second draft, and I'm going to talk about what my plan is next for my next stage of editing and revising for this draft. I just finished my first read through for my first draft, and oh my gosh, what a fustercluck. Anyway, I'm glad I never have to look at that again, because from now on it's just going to be getting better and better and not look that horrible. But the main thing I wanted to talk about in this video is what my next step is in this revising process and how I plan on tackling that. Hopefully that will give you some ideas on what you might want to try if you happen to be in an editing and revision phase. And if not, you can completely ignore my process if you want to, because it's my first time doing this process and this is basically an experiment. Part of the point of these videos is so that in the end I can kind of review how I did this and point out where some of the flaws in my plan were, point out if it ended up working out well for me or not, and if you might want to try to emulate kind of the same idea, although obviously tailor it to how you want to do your particular editing and revising process. So the first thing I'm going to do today, because I realized all my notes are in different places, I've got like half of my revision notes in the comments on my Word document where my manuscript is currently. I've got like a fourth of them on paper somewhere. I hope I can find them. And then I've got like the other fourth of them on a completely separate Word document for some reason. I don't know what I was doing there, but anyway, so I'm going to get those all put into comments on my actual Word document and highlight them according to what kind of correction they are, so that I know what I'm actually going to be doing at the different phases here, so I can seek out those ones that are highlighted in blue first for my first stage of revisions that I'm working through, which are things that require research and or fact checking. Those should be relatively minor because I accidentally ended up doing quite a bit of that already in my first draft and correcting things because I was diddle-daddling and finding busy work to do. But I'm going to go through those first, which I have 3 days scheduled for doing. Or is it 4 days? I'd have to look at my notes, but I want to say it's 3 days scheduled for that. Then the next thing I'm going to be doing is looking at my purple notes, which are my continuity errors that I have that need to be corrected. Those I think I have 4 days scheduled for, because there aren't too many of those, and well, actually there's tons of those, but they aren't going to require a lot of work. They're mostly just like, hey, I put a detail that they had an OD backpack here and I didn't say that before, so I need to add that detail in and stuff. And then I've got a week and a half scheduled after those revisions are made to add any scenes or details that needed to be added that I ran across, and I have a lot of those. I have no clue actually how I'm going to get through those in a week and a half, and I may have to extend my deadline due to those because I've got a lot of scenes, like full-blown almost chapters I have to add, which would be nice if I can end up with an even 30 chapters instead of 29 because of that. That'd be great, but we will see. I don't think that it's going to be add a whole chapter thing. I think it's going to be I'm just adding on to other chapters that are already there, and there's not really an appropriate place to split and make another chapter, unfortunately. But we'll see what ends up happening. I may come up with more scenes that need to be added, and there may be a whole chapter that gets tacked in there, which would be great. But wow, I'm starting to ramble again. This is just, I always do that. You know me. But that's my plan. What I'm going to be doing today, first things first, is I'm going to be working on getting all those revision notes added into my Word document in the little comment options so that I can open them up. I'm hoping that the highlighting thing will work so that I don't have to open each comment and see what kind of thing it is. I'm just going to try to be highlighting the text for each comment, but there are certain areas where there are multiple comments in one section. So I'm going to see how that works, and I'll get back to you on if that ended up working for me or not as far as organizing my revision notes, and we will go from there. But that's going to be my first step, and then I'm going to hopefully get a little bit ahead on some of my revisions that need to happen as far as the research and fact checking is concerned. I'm going to at least try to get through my bits where it's a matter of me having to go into Google Translate and get some of these Spanish words correct that I'm using, because I've got a character who speaks kind of like half Spanish, half English, because he's in the process of learning English. And he speaks mostly in Spanish still. So they kind of have a thing where they have to work back and forth with whatever Spanish and English each person knows to communicate. So that's a fun scene, actually. I like that one. It reminds me very much of working on the phones. But anyway, that's my plan for today. I'm going to try to get my notes organized at least today, which may take longer than I thought. And then if I can get through those fairly quickly, then I'm going to move on to trying to make some of the revisions I need to in this research / fact-checking stage that I'm doing. And I'll get back to you on that. All right, this is getting super rambly. I'm going to let you go. All right, have a good one. Bye.